This is Tom from Chelsea Grin, and you're watching Sonic Perspectives.
First and foremost, I've completely lost my train of thought from what we were talking about. Darko taking over the world. Please continue.
Well, yeah, Darko, we got a plan, bro. We definitely have a lot of interesting musical takes we're going to take. We don't want to bow to anybody. We don't want to have a label. We don't want to have any of that, because it's like, man, all these people out here just want to take money from bands. They just want to see people who are starting to have success, and then they go, "Let us help you out, bro. We would love to make you big." Fuck off, bro. All you do is you see possibility and want to take money from the bands. And most bands don't know that, bro. It's like you have all these big boy bands that are like up here and they're touring and they're rather incestuous with each other. Like they don't pick any other bands out on tour with them. They only take the certain lineup with them. It's like, dude, you're literally limiting this scene by making a certain group of people big. And then you're lying to these kids that want to be in this industry. They're like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? And then they get into this industry and then they're fucked because they own none of their music or they're in a 360 deal. And 360 deal, if you don't know what that is, whatever you're a part of, they own every piece of what you're doing. Everything.
Even live music.
Everything. You know what I mean? So it's like, most of these kids don't know this shit, bro. So again, with Darko, my goal is to help wake people up with consciousness and, show them the light of the world, because look, there is light around us. There is inherent evil around us, but there is light. Now, the reason why I tell you this is because I have been being visited by orbs of light ever since I've met this gentleman named Ryan Bledsoe. You can look up his father, Christopher Bledsoe. There's a Discovery Channel episode about his family. They've been visited by these orbs of light, these beings of light. Of course, the government, they skew the information. So they're like, we don't know if it's true. We don't. It's very true. Because I was there literally a couple weeks ago and had beings of light manifest maybe 10 feet from me, 40 plus of them. It literally made me weep. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, music was my thing. I thought that was why I was on Earth to, I'm here to play music. I'm here to interact. Nah, I figured out why I'm here. I'm here to show people the light, the truth of reality, bro. Because the reality of it is we are controlled by people who want this world to be at a certain level so they can control us. If people knew that you can access the power from beyond this realm, and by the power of beyond this realm, dude, there are beings that want to help us. They're all around us. And you can look this up. His name is Christopher Bledsoe. He's got an Instagram. It's Christopher Lentz Bledsoe Sr. And it's because it's the father. There's Christopher Jr. And there's a whole information you can check out about it. Beings of light are real. I've seen them. They visited me at my fucking house, bro. Literally stopped me in my tracks. Like, how do I say this? I love music more than anything. It is my calling. But now, my calling is to tell people about what I've witnessed. And I know what this information is going to change the world. There's a book coming out soon. It's called The UFO of God. And it is going to shake the beliefs of humanity and all this stuff. Bro, let me tell you this real quick. And then, because I love dropping this little bit of truth, and then I'll say, let's continue this continue.
Okay. I have way too many questions, but please drop.
Oh, bro, we can go crazy whenever you want. But listen, I got in a car accident in December. Now, I don't publicize my life on the internet because the internet is literally a cesspool of anger, and it is not for me. I drop what I need to drop, and then I get off the internet for the day. So I got in an accident in December, 45 miles an hour, head on. I was at a stoplight. This lady, bam, slammed into me, fucked me up, bro. My back was fucked up for months. I was waking up in the middle of the night and couldn't breathe, couldn't sleep, and my back's been fucked, bro. My whole life, I never had back problems up until this moment, right? Been going to a chiropractor for like 6 months, to no avail, no change in my body. I go to Fayetteville, North Carolina, is where Christopher's located. And energy right off the bat is huge. And I say that because he hugged me, and it felt like I've known this guy forever. Now I'm there for 2 days, go home, I'm outside, and I'm running with my dog outside. And mid run, I drop to my knees and I start crying because I know for a fact, dude, this guy touched me and he healed me. There's many different accounts of this guy who he has touched people and he's healed people. It is look at me, bro. I know it's hard to believe. But
Forgive
look,
me. It's yeah, look, no, the reason I'm smiling is because I'm not thinking about like how unbelievable it is. I think about all, like, obviously everyone has their own experiences, right? And those experiences can be so special that you absolutely want to bring that to other people and enrich other people's lives. Why I smiled is because it's the immediate nose and looks of disbelief and the immediate looks of estrangement that you get, that you will get as you kind of, start to talk about all this stuff. And I just couldn't help but start to kind of, yeah, like almost just smart, just thinking about, man, like it's a long road. And, I can't say that I, immediately have aligned my beliefs with, with what you're going for. Like, obviously it takes a lot of revelation. It takes a lot of self-discovery, but just, I immediately thought, oh man, like this is going to be fun for you to talk to people about who are not ready to kind of receive that information, and at least not willing to at least think about receiving that information.
what do you think the isness is about?
You know what? I actually laughed at myself because I believe I Googled isness and it came up with International Standard Numerical Identification System, and I pissed my pants. I was like, that can't be what it is. But I'm honestly not too sure. And that's one of my questions about this album, which we'll dive into a little bit later. It's just regarding the perspectives that you take as a lyricist when you get into this album, because it feels to me like you do embody multiple perspectives of life and human beings. So look, I don't want to embarrass myself by saying I know what it is, but I would like to know.
There's a book called The Egyptian Book of the Dead. And the isness, plain and simple, it talks about the energy that is within all of us and all beings and every living thing on a molecular level. Everything's vibrating, right? Everything, every cell is moving. All beings,
Yeah.
even this bottle of fucking migraine medication, everything is moving around you. You may not be able to see it, but it is. Now, what does that tell you? That's vibration, right? Everything is moving on a constant sense. You ever hear that hippie shit? Oh, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. Yeah, it is. It truly is a vibe because everything around us is moving, right? There's a scientist in Hawaii, in Japan, I believe. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce his name because I don't want to butcher it, but you can look this up. It's on YouTube. It's called the water experiment, right? They take 4 objects, they put them all in different rooms. They take 2 glasses of water and they take 2 plants. Again, 4 different rooms. Both 2 objects they speak nothing but kindness to, and 2 objects they speak nothing but hatred to, angry
I've
things.
heard this before.
Well, let me refresh in your mind. So
Thank you.
now, what happens is, look, after a week or 2, the plant that they spoke negative to began to wilt. The plant that they spoke positive to grew almost a certain amount of space, and it was like profound to these people, right? Now, I know in your mind you may be thinking, all right, wise guy, explain what the water did. Well, I'll tell you what the water did. They took the water and they looked at it under a microscope. Remember how we said everything's a vibration, everything on a molecular level is constantly shifting and moving,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
They looked at the water that was spoken negative to. It looked like broken shards of glass. They look at the one that was spoke positive to. It looked like snowflakes, crystalline patterns, beautiful, perfect patterns. Now, what does that tell you? It says that my voice can manipulate matter around me on a molecular and physical level. So, look, when you say something negative to someone for a long period of time, they'll start to embody that feeling. Or you say something positive to someone, they'll start to embody that feeling. We are no different. We're all the same. And it truly is a ride of the human existence. From the second you're born, you're being shoveled all these ideologies, whether it's religion, whether it's government, whether it's whatever it is you're told at a young age. And then you get older and you start to question things and you start to go, man, why didn't I get to question this at a young age? But now that I'm older, if I do question it, I'm considered conspiracy theorist or this or that. But it's like, is it really so out of pocket to think about everything you're told in another light? Is it really so honest to only believe everything you're told. If you hand me the Bible and tell me never to question anything in it, does that seem fair to the person to read it? If I'm supposed to read everything I see and not question it, what's the point of life? If you go and you play a video game and you're trying to open every door in the game, it's because you want to explore, right? It's you in your mind. You're a curious individual. Now, where your curiosity takes you is purely up to you. But I do believe all of us, again, I talked to before about Christopher Bledsoe. We all have the ability to tap into this shit, dude. It's if you have the heart or the patience, or are you past the social programming? Are you past the things that are like, whoa, this is what it is? Because I'll tell you this right now. I was in the dark for a lot of my life. Very angry, very linear thinking, born and death, that all shit in my mind. But the second I got to see these orbs of light, these beings of light, and look, they manifested 10 feet from me or in the sky, thousands of feet above me. And they move in patterns that do not follow our laws of gravity or anything. They move in such intrinsic patterns. It blew my mind. It made me weep. Actually. Other than that, man, it's been a growing thing for me. And again, I was a very negative person, very angry person for the longest time. And searching for this light and searching for this moment of my life right now has led me here to speak about this with you. And every person I talk to, this is part of the conversation. It doesn't matter who I talk to, whether it's Jill Blow getting bread at the store or I'm at the fucking in line in Home Depot trying to pick up a pallet of whatever. I'll always talk about this. You know why? Because the truth is so liberating and the truth is so real. So how many things have we gone through in our life with, hey, just fucking believe. Hey, just do this because it's the safest way. Hey, I'll tell you what. I've gone off to the beaten path and I have been led to a place where I was not expecting. And I'm very happy to be where I am now so I can tell you this message and tell people this message. And again, I come from a place of compassion, never a place of condescending, I guess, information, because I want people to know this stuff. I want people to experience this with me. When we were in North Carolina, or excuse me, in Indiana, and we were recording one of our videos for Chelsea Grin, I went outside with David and Stephen, and they too both saw something. Now, whether they're comfortable enough to speak about it, because again, it was shocking for those who aren't ready to see it, but they asked for it. I remember Stephen went out and Stephen said, I would love to see something. And a fucking an orb of light shot across Stephen's head. And I looked at him and I went, what'd you see? And he went,
No
well, I just saw something. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, of course you did, motherfucker. I knew you would. You know what I mean? It's, you have to let down that guard and go with the mind of a child, the heart of a child, go with innocence. But again, we can talk about that whenever you want. I just had to let you know what I've been experiencing. And I would love to talk to you more further about some music now, if you'd like.
That was a beautiful way to what's the word? Tie things in a nice bow. Let's talk about Chelsea Grin for a moment, right? First of all, huge news, right, about the Aussie tour for The Art Is Murder, the 10-year anniversary of Hate. How are you feeling about all that?
Pretty cool. Never toured with them before. It's exciting. I think it's going to be a good time. I know it's a quick run. I love Australia. I love Australian natives. I love everybody from there. Everybody's my people, bro. It's a good vibe when you're in Australia. Everybody you come across is there for the music, there for the feeling, there for just the whole time. Metal is for some scary, but for people like us, it's a unifying thing. And I'm grateful to be able to play my music anywhere that I'm permitted, right? So again, I'm very excited to be able to do that tour.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, how long's it been since you've been in Australia? Is it 2019 that you were here?
Pretty few years.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, that's but this time you're bringing Spite with you, of course. I mean, that's such a cool thing to have them come over as well for this tour. The question though with that, is there any chance that Darko will actually make a little pop-up thing here and there?
Let me tell you this right now. Darko will be at our time when we choose. We're going to do a show. We're going to announce something and we're going to make it so if people want to come, you got to fly to this show. We're going to make it so if you do want to come to this show, we're going to do some type of little thing where we'll fly some people into the show that can't get into the country or whatever, because we're like that. We're built like that. We're going to pay for some people to get in, because that's what metal's about. It's about to lend that, hey, you want to experience this? Come on, let's get in here. Come and have fun with us. It seems crazy from the outside, but once you get inside this building, you see it's all love. You know what I mean? So we're trying to do things bands don't do. And we're trying to be, I don't know if the correct word is polarized, but we want to do everything. We want to do all types of music. We want to do any type of vibe we're feeling. We just want to do whatever we want. And look at the metal community. They've set their ceiling with, only screaming, only metals. Well, if that's what you choose to do, you're not tapping into the other side of music. And what is music? Music is all things, and we've noticed through Darko that it's given us way more fans in a real quick, short period of time because of all the different shit we compile into it. Maybe there's a fan that loves just the 2 singing songs. Maybe there's the fans that love just the metal stuff, but they're still going to listen to the record. I read a comment somewhere. It's like, I got rid of the 1 song because it's singing, but the rest of the record's amazing. Cool. If that's what you like,
you do.
Enjoy it. You know what I mean? That's why it's there. It's there for people to find the songs they like and enjoy. And from there, we're getting some normies, some normal ass people who never listened to metal before. Like, I found your band and now I work out to it. And I'm like, sick, bro. Hell yeah. That's awesome. And that's the point. We want to bring everybody into this shit. Not just the metalheads. Not just, you know what I mean? We want everybody to enjoy this shit.
Let's dive into the new album, Suffer in Hell, which is, of course, part of the duo, which is Suffer in Hell / Heaven, coming out November 11. Of course, I need to hear about the statement that Chelsea Grin's making, or at least the questions that you're asking, because, of course, we've touched on the isness, but there's a lot of stuff in here. And I don't need to, I'm sure that you could go on for a whole day talking about this whole album, just this one album.
I could.
But if possible, in a short kind of way, what are the questions you're asking and what are the statements that you're making on this album?
Well, to be fair, it's a lot more statements than questions. A lot of it is questioning the people who control us. A lot of them is finding the love within yourself. One of the songs is about the balance of good and evil with all humans. We have both sides, and understanding the dark part of you is something we all need, because the duality of all things, there's no such thing as good all the time. There's no such thing, you just don't get to have that. There's going to be those good and bad times, just like within you. There's going to be those good and bad moments. One of the songs is about that. Another song is about empowering someone. It's in these moments you feel it's not worth all your focus of will. Open your mind. It's like all about understanding you are an inherently infinite being, and you can do whatever you want. It's not to be dictated by the world around you, but dictate the world around you, and don't be molded by the things that are all around you, constantly pushing you in one direction. Because guess what? You'll be quite surprised by when you follow your own path. You'll be very happy with where you end up. A lot of these songs are different. There's a song about a father who unfortunately has to put down his child. There's some deep songs on the record like that. And by put down, it's about an abortion, about a person who isn't ready for a child and puts down their kid, and they're just going through the duality of the decision, and they're just, going through, it's every song is different. There's not one thing on this record where I can be like, this record's about this. Both of these records are about human existence, are about the constant fight of just waking up every morning, the battle within your mind, the battle outside your window, the battle on your TV. It's all there. It's what you choose to be as a human. And are you going to take your bad experiences and put them on display and be like, this is all the bad shit that happened to me, and this is the way that I am, whatever, bro. Or you can take those bad experiences and go, all right, well, guess I'm never putting my hand on that stove again, or guess I'm never going to do that bad decision again. But as you know, and as I know, we are all suckers for pain, and we all continue to follow the same path that we've started to begin with because we are creatures of habit, you know.
Mhm.
But again, both these records, man, they at first was going to be a 16 song record, but we were like, no one's going to listen to this. They're going to look at it at face value. They're going to blast through the record. They're going to be like, where's more, you know? So if you give
Yeah.
them 8 and then you give them, you know, let them dwell on that, and then here's the other 8 at a later time, you have time to obsess over it. You have time to really pick those lyrics apart, really figure that. So if you really like those songs, well, here are these 8 songs. Obsess over them. Here are the next 8 songs, and put them all together at the end, and see if it makes a story for you. See if it does something for you, because that's what music is, bro. It's
Mhm.
it's a mental movie, right? You don't get to see the pictures in front of you,
Yep.
but those words paint whatever you want them to paint in your mind. And then at the end of that song, you're left there going, ah, or you're left there going, or you're left there going,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. And that's what music is. It's like this genre has been pushed into a corner of, I'm so fucking dark. Good for you,
Yeah.
bro. Glad you're so fucking dark. I'm not, you know, and I want to put out that hand to be like, hey, metal does not have to be about the darkness. It doesn't. Hey, a lot of it is, but guess
Yep.
what? In the darkness, you can still peer in any direction and still go towards the light. It's just all about the direction you choose to look at the end of it, right?
Speaking of directions, man, musically as well, like this album is so varied, yet it still has that main kind of, let's just say, the deathcore foundation. Um, you go straight up deathcore, you got black and death metal, full gothic mellow death moments and such. I mean, it's really well done. It's really well done, and I've found listening to it as well that I can recognize each song individually. Um, did you have any,
Steven's a wizard,
mate? It's
dude. He wrote
impressive.
he wrote the drums. He wrote the
Yep.
guitar. He did the same thing with Eternal Nightmare. He did
Hmm.
everything. Steven's a wizard. Steven doesn't get enough recognition because he's a very quiet guy, but Steven writes everything. And then, you know, David will be there and David will be like, yeah, that sounds good, this, that, and everything. But David, I mean, Steven's the mastermind, bro. He writes everything. And no one
It,
knows that. But now you do. You know, Steven does everything.
so the question I have with all this, talking about the music being so diverse and such, I mean, did you, as a band, and also Steve, did he and you have a beginning vision for what you wanted this double album to kind of be, or did you kind of just say, all right, it's time, let's write, let's see what happens?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Steven kind of keeps to himself a lot of the stuff. He is, again, he does his own thing, you know, and he'll
Mhm.
throw ideas into the group chat and be like, "Hey, I've been writing this. What do you think?" And we'll put our input into it. But realistically, man, it's you can give him ideas, but at the end of the day, bro, you let him run wild. He's gonna do whatever the fuck he wants. It may take him a little bit of time to get those songs written, but at the end of every song, you're like left going, "Oh yeah, look at that. You really fucking put attention to detail into that shit, huh?" Because
Yeah.
like his drum fills it. He motherfucker acts like he plays drums with the way he does shit. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like what he can do so much, and it's like I just again, you listen to the record, you like
Yeah.
it. I'm excited for people to hear it, just like you got a chance to hear it, bro. And it's
Yeah.
just not Chelsea Grin how people remember.
That's one of the first things I thought, but I also thought, like, without blowing too much smoke up your ass, I think it's probably the deathcore album of the year. Again, going back to the fact that I just can remember each song, just how it is, and there's so many influences, or not even if, like, whether it's not an influence or not, but just there are so many elements that make each song so special. And then I just remember like finishing the album being like, okay, round 2, round 3, round 4, and I've just been blasting it, not because I need to do a review on it or because I want to talk to you, just because I want to listen to it. And yeah, like I'm a huge fan of it, man. Really.
I'm just really interesting to hear. You know, look, obviously Pablo's not on the record. You know, I'm interesting to hear people's take on that because look, now that he's not here, I get to do my thing and I got to do all my vocals that I love to do, and it paints the band in a whole new perspective than people remember them because again, they're known for very high vocals and that was like their thing. Now there's like gutturals in the band and there's pig squeals and there's black metal highs in some of the songs. There's like fucking 6 or 7 different types of vocals, you know, and the band
Yep.
is known for one type of vocal. So I'm really curious to hear what everybody is going to say about it. And, you know,
Yeah.
again, we put a lot of fucking work into this shit, bro. 4 years into this shit.
Yeah, it has been 4 years. That's exactly it. What did you want to do for yourself apart from, being the best you can be? Like, what did you want to do for yourself when performing on this album?
Elaborate that question. You mean like, what do you mean by do for myself? You mean like
Um,
showboat?
yeah, like what was your motivation, or what did you want to achieve for yourself as a vocalist when you put yourself into this album?
Have fun recreating this.
Sick.
That is literally what I do for everything I ever do. It's like I see everybody doing vocal covers for this, that, and the other thing, and I'm like, I would love to see somebody try to do this.
Mm,
Yet to, I mean, really see anything that kind of wowed me. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not saying that people's vocal covers don't wow me, but it makes me feel good to know that I really do. I'm like, no one's gonna be able to do this, and I really like. I sit there and I'll do a take like 4 or 5 fucking times in the studio. I'll be like, man, that's not low enough, and then I'll look to my right, and they'll be like, what are you, stupid? That's heavy as fuck, and I'm like, you're not listening to it from a listener's perspective. You're listening to it from a musician. You're like, oh yeah, heavy. You know how many kids are gonna listen to this record and be like, I can do that. Or they're going to sit there in their room and they're going to, whatever the fuck it is they're going to do, they're going to figure that shit out in a day.
yeah.
So I got to make sure when I do what I do, it's very hard to replicate, very hard to imitate. And that's why it's like,
Yeah.
that's all I want to do. I want to be my own, Mitch from Suicide Silence,
Oh
Phil
man.
from Whitechapel. It's like, what separates them from everybody else? No one can sound like them.
This is a
That's what I
question
want
that
to do.
I actually had ready for later, but I'll say it now. I mean, you're I think you, Will Ramos, and Kyle Anderson are almost like the newer version of Phil Bozeman, let's say Johnny Davey from Job for a Cowboy, Mitch Lucker, etc. I mean, and I think a lot of people say that online as well. They're like, wow, like, Tom and, A, B, C, they're carrying deathcore into the next realm. They're keeping its blood pumping through its body. How does that make you feel? Like, what's your take on that opinion?
I'm going to be honest with you. There'll be a band out next year, and I feel like people just get thrown to the wayside. It's like right now I may be, for the moment, today's new flavor, but I mean, just like the internet, one day you're king, the next day you're peasant. So the
Mm-hmm.
words may be kind now, but there's always room for somebody else to come and take over, like be the new. I'm not saying I'm the big dog, but I'm saying there's always space for someone to walk up on in and fucking get everybody from behind and not be ready for it. Because I know plenty of people who are doing music right now, and when they do put their music out, people are gonna shit their fucking drawers. Because it's like, look, will I go out there and be like I'm the best? No. Will I go out there and say that I am the face of deathcore? No. Because if you say
No.
that, you're probably a loser. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's so many different people in this genre that bring to this genre. And there's so many different vocalists, so many different things. It's how can you choose who's the best? There's so many people who are amazing. All I want to do is be the best at what I do. And yeah, maybe right now I'm liked, but who knows? Maybe in another week there'll be somebody that crawls out the fucking woodwork and they're the new bee's knees. So for now, if I'm liked, sick. Because I know on the internet, people change their opinion like they change their fucking underwear, bro. It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I take it all with a grain of salt, and I don't go, wow, you really think I'm the best? I'm like, wow, cool, bro, nice. Wait till you hear the record. I can't wait for you guys to hear the record. Um, it's I don't go on the internet anymore, bro, because it's a it's just not for me. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
go and I post information about music and whatever I experience in life, and that's it. I don't read the comments. I don't look at anything. I strip myself from that. So again, to answer your question, when people say that, very nice, but wait till a month from now when the new super band comes out and everybody who everybody loved is like, fuck that band. It's all about Bebop and the Bebop Boys now. It's like I take everything with a grain of salt, bro. I'm honored that people would say something nice about that, but
Mm-hmm.
again, that opinion can change real fucking quick in this world,
And I mean, did you take it with a grain of salt as well when you were joining Chelsea Grin? Of course, I mean, I feel like that obviously they're pretty big shoes to fill back in 2018, when the album was released. Back then, I'm sure it would be pretty gnarly. Now, of course, I'm guessing, especially with this album, I feel like it's almost like the history has been completely erased, and it's like who was here before? So I mean, did you kind of have that same feeling to people who are going to have opinions? It was kind of like, well, look, I'm here, like this is it, or were you worried at the time?
Well, at first I was worried because for the first couple months of the band, I had all the fans telling me to kill myself, or people telling
That's not
me,
nice.
or yeah, they want me to die, or they hope my van flips. I'll never be Alex. And it's like, bro, I've had some of the meanest things said to me on the internet for many things that I have said, and none of them have ever been out of hatred, and none of them have ever been like, you know. But again, people will say what they want to say, and again, referring to your question before about you thinking or you saying that people saying the kind of stuff about me, it's people are gonna say what they want to say, bro, and at the end of the day, that's what they want to say, and all I
Mhm.
can do is just make the best product I think, and be a part of things that I think will do good, and from there, it'll do what it wants to do because it's all up to the listener and me. I can only do so much, and yeah, I'm just
You,
happy to be able to make the music.
well, I mean, you can do so much. There are so many different sounds in this freaking album, dude. It's out of this world. Like your iconic sound is there, but then there are other noises that come out that really just rattle. They at least they rattled me. I mean, there are some gnarly shrieks. There's this one almost like whistle scream. I think it's in Crystal Casket. I think it's in Slave Us All, you say, I think.
It's
And
played
I
so.
heard, oh man, I was like, that was cool. Like that was next level.
Thank
And
you, man.
I mean, so that plus also just the way that you speak, your vocabulary, the inflections. I mean, when you're doing this stuff, I mean, how do you consider making it sound so theatrical and then telling a story with an up and down and frights and huge moments? Like what's the mentality or the psychology that you use to go into that? Because I feel like it's more thought than just being like, I'm gonna say this like this as opposed to this. Like there's so much more than just saying, okay, well, I want to make it sound like this because it sounds cool.
Well, I'll tell you this now, and you can take it for however you want. When I write based off of emotion. When the song makes me feel something, I write what it makes me feel. I believe I am, again, take this for what you will. I'm a conduit for creativity, and I believe most things that I write, they're not from my brain. They're from beyond. A lot of the
Mhm.
things that I get, they're given to me. Like I said, it's again, take it for what you want, but I like to meditate before I write. I like to get in the mindset before I do anything. Because again, it's channeling energy, right? Um, I believe it's given to me. I believe whatever I can write, I can scream, obviously, but all these things, they just come to me from my mind and from
Yeah.
beyond. And again, take it for what you want.
No,
Um,
I'm all for that, man. Like, I mean, people take drugs to get ideas for music, and for me, like I wouldn't say it's the same thing, but it's another way to channel something else because that's obviously your not usual state of mind. So meditating is also not a usual state of mind. It's channeling something.
you want to get the practices to meditate while walking. That's the thing because meditation
Oh,
is look, it's not the perfection of canceling your mind and stopping the thoughts from happening. It's the observation of your thoughts and letting them pass through your head because you're never going to shut your brain off unless you're fucking dead. So
hmm.
you have to understand that your brain is the ego and your higher self is your second thought. Think of it this way: you find a wallet. There's 10 grand in the wallet. What's your first thought?
I'd be like, wow, that's a shitload of money.
What's your second thought?
Whose wallet is this?
So what did I just say? Your first thought is your ego.
Yeah.
Second thought is your higher self. Your first thought will always be the thing to gain, to gain, to gain, to take, to win, to have, to want, to need. But the second thought will be, is that right? So that's what I'm telling you. Your brain will always tell you what to do. It'll always tell you what way it thinks you should go. But
Hmm.
your higher self will always tell you, I don't know. It's like, but what thought are you going to pay attention to? The reactionary thought or the
Hmm.
secondary thought? That's truly up to you, you know?
It's very true. So I wanted to ask about Adam Burke. Nightjar illustration. His artwork for Suffering Hell slash Heaven is a very beautiful yet absolutely horrifying masterpiece, as far as I'm concerned. How much creative freedom did you give him for that, or did you have an idea and you were like, hey, this is what we want? I mean, did you just give him the album and say go nuts? How did that come about?
Absolutely. I believe that was what we did. We said, you do what you want to do. He sent us back that, because that's a painting, I believe. And he sent
Mm,
that back to us. And I was like, or I, not, we were like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Because how many records, everything is so like center focus, like this is the record. That picture is like, it's like could be in a museum, you know? It's like, it's beautiful.
it is.
It's, he's a talented man. And I love that it kind of paints the way that the record is, because just like every color used in that painting, there are many, many, many different colors in this record or these
Mm,
records. There are different feelings to them. There's different um, emotions, and it's like, once people really begin to read some of these lyrics, I believe they'll really begin to understand why things the way it look the way they do, and um, why we chose to do 8 songs per record. It's just, I believe it all kind of ties into each other, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I wish I could have it on my fucking wall. It's that good looking.
I mean, are you gonna be selling flags and all that kind of stuff for people to hang in their own houses?
I'm sure they will. I'm sure we will.
I hope so. That'd be cool.
This time around, we are hands on with everything. We no longer are doing things to our old management, so we
Hmm.
are literally like with everything, looking into everything, like fine tuning everything and making sure the merch is printed on good quality shit. The uh the fuck what I was saying. We know what's going on with how the music is being portrayed. We know all
Hmm.
this good stuff, and it's before. I feel like the band was in a place where it's like, okay, well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and there's like a set rules to how this comes out. And I say rules as in they have their way, how they've done their business for the longest time. And now it's a new turn of the page, and there's new vocalists, and there's new way that we're doing things. So I believe these 2 records, bro, they're going to put out that new welcome mat to be like, you know what? Here, you do what you want with this. You listen to this. Enjoy this. It's I'm very excited for people to hear it, because again, it's been 4 fucking years, bro. 4 fucking long,
Yeah,
miserable years.
it has.
And
It's been a long time.
yeah, I feel like we all are over this shit, and we're all ready to let life be normal again, right?
I hope that it does. Going back to Nigel, I mean, we're talking about him, of course, adding some incredible elements to this album, and then you also said paving the way for new vocalists, and we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
yourself also. But another vocalist on this album is the late and certainly great Trevor Strnad. How does it feel to continue his legacy? And also, I mean, as far as my knowledge goes, be maybe the last thing that we'll hear from him.
I'm gonna say this right now, bro. Um, that guy was my hero. That was
Mm,
somebody that, look, I'm sure you'll hear a lot of people speak very highly of that guy. I don't I don't want to be that guy, but I was never best friends with him, but he knew
mm,
my name. He remembered me every time I saw him. One of the first memories I had with him was when I was in my first band, and I remember we were outside, or it was just me outside, and it was right after their set or whatever, and I remember I was standing by the trailer, and I saw this like shadowy figure just come out of like the darkness. It was, because Trevor's a taller dude, and
mm.
I heard, "Hey, little Tom," and I remember I was like, "Oh boy, what is this?" And I remember seeing him walk out of the darkness with his fist like this, and I was like, "This is my moment. This is my moment." Because like I've never had a one-on-one true like bro moment with him. Because again, miasma was what really got me into death metal vocals.
Yeah.
Trevor. Oh yeah, bro.
Wow.
Everybody can act like. they have their certain things like I would sit in my car every fucking day and scream that record every day as a kid.
Wow.
And to be on tour with him now, let me fast forward. He puts his hand out. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit ADHD with this shit.
It's
He puts
okay.
his hand out, and I go to dap him up, and he takes my hand and he puts it under his, and he closes something into my hand, and he goes, "Great show. You're a wizard." And I'm like, "Thanks, man." And then you hear, Trevor, from like 30 fucking people. You know, they came out the back door, they want to see Trevor, and you hear him go, he goes, "Duty calls," and he goes and he leaves. He walks away from me.
Yeah.
I open my hand. It is the most purple, green, orange colored marijuana I've ever seen in my life.
I
And I
knew it.
remember
Yeah, I knew it.
I put that shit in my hand, and I remember I looked around and I was like, "Oh my God." And I like hid it inside my backpack. And the second I got home from tour, I would take a nug out every other day, smoke it, and I would write to it. And I would, bro, it was so spiritual for me. Like that was from his hands to mine with his loving words. And that was like one of the only true moments I ever had with the man. And granted, I played other shows with him
Yeah.
past that moment, but they were very quick. But that was the one thing that like really set with me. And yeah, he was a great man, good man, inspired me to be everything that I am now with vocals. And yeah, I just think about that, man. And it's crazy to think about. Sorry, I'm getting weird for a second.
That's completely fine.
It's crazy to think about because, you know, he's it's a shame. It's really a shame. It's almost like I wish he had my number so he could have called me. I'm not saying that I would have changed anything in his mind, but just to be able to say something to him,
Yeah.
let him know how great he is, how special he is, how big of a influence he was on my life. And you know, yeah, it's cool. It's very cool to have a piece of his voice on a song with me because that's something I've always wanted my entire life. Uh, yeah, super. It's like makes me kind of like hunch over thinking about it because it's heavy shit, dude. It's
Yeah.
it's almost like again, it's like I wish he had my number, but again, everybody wants to do what they want to do, and I'll never damn anybody for any decision they want to do, and everybody does what they want, and miss him. Can't say that I miss him like his mother. Can't say I miss him like his father, because I know his father misses him, and I know his mother passed away a few months before. I mean, dude, it's a lot of shit. It weighs on people. It does a lot of shit. I'm not even gonna act like I know any reason why he did anything. All I can say is like, I just wish I was closer with him, so he maybe could have called me, so I could have helped. But again, I didn't know him like that. I knew him in the way I knew him, and that was my gift from him. To be friends with him in the way that I got to. And yeah, it was cool. He's a super cool guy, and I'm honored he is on this record. Yeah, I'm very honored.
And your performance on Forever Bloom, for some reason, it stands out to me a lot.
Because I want it to sound exactly like Trevor. That is the whole reason that song was written that way. I heard that song and went, I want to sound like that was like, this is about it. Literally, I remember I talked to Steve and I was like, yes. I'm literally going to do Trevor highs on this is what I said. Like I wanted to sound just like Trevor. And what are the odds? He manifests and he's on the song at the end. That song was written. That song was written to be like, man, maybe Trevor will jump on. And he did.
And he did.
And he did. So again, I believe in manifestation. I do, because we put that energy into that shit. And again, he's always been a fan of CG before I was even in the band. So I'm not even act like, he did it because he did it because he's always loved Chelsea Grin. And he's always asked to be on a record. I know that because Steven's told me, he's like, give me a chance. I want to be on the record. And it's so fucked that the one time we get that chance, he's not here anymore. For me to be like, "Yeah, look what you did. You're the man." Like, just just
Yeah.
give him that praise, which I'm sure he got as often as anybody in his position would get. But I wanted to give it to him just to be like,
Yeah.
dude, you're the man, And
Yeah.
again, that was somebody I looked up to more than anyone in this scene, because that was the one person who I have met in any band that I have met that has given me human interaction. I've met many people in many bands, and it's very like, oh, I got 50,000 likes, like who's collab, blah, 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 whatever, fuck off. You know what I mean? It's like, that was like the original metal guy that was like free from the internet, free from all this shit. He was just like, bro, he had fucking heartburn tattooed on his gut. You know what I mean? Like, he just didn't fucking care.
Heartburn.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I,
bro.
I
Look,
forgot.
bro,
I
look.
think I forgot about that
You
actually.
see that, and you're just like, this guy was just the fucking man. You see him on stage, he's fucking shaking his fucking arms around. You see heartburn. I remember watching Majesty for the first time and being like, it's like a kid watching that tour documentary, being like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. And just being like, man, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. And that fucking one day came. And it left so fast. So fast. So what does that teach me? It teaches me to enjoy those moments, enjoy that incredible thing that I thought would never happen, but it did. And in short amount of time. But you know what? Wherever he is, I'm sure he's in a better place, as many cheesy people like to say. You're not in this realm suffering anymore. You are where you wanted to be, wherever it is that is. And hey, if he could hear me right now, I hope he knows that I think he's the man. I think he is and will always stay the best vocalist in metal, and will always stay the most genuine man in metal, and will always stay my favorite vocalist, because everybody else is just not as good, just not as real, just not as wholesome, just not as honest. And you can read it through his writing. He was a biblical lyricist. You read his words, go look up some of the words, bruh. Have fun. That man was so smart. There was words that I read in there. I was like, come on, bro. I'm not going to fucking Google this shit. I remember being a kid because I was like, I want to write like this. I want to wow people with my literature. I didn't go to college. I'm not a book man. I'm not any of that shit,
I've got a couple more fun questions and then we can end it there. Okay. Apart from releasing some darker hip hop under the moniker of Rob Webbs and also getting a surprising fan base in Nail Salon, what is something else that people would find surprising to learn about you when it comes to silly trivia kind of stuff?
About music creation, you said about that part of things? Like that's
anything, like you're a professional yo-yo champion, or you're fluent in Spanish or something like that.
I shoot guns every other day. I'm a fucking gnarly shot. I ride motorcycles. I have my motorcycle. But probably the strangest thing I collect coins. Probably that.
You collect coins?
Yeah, I have my oldest coin is from 1843.
Okay, that's a surprising fact. That's a good one.
Yeah, I heard yo-yo, and I was like, yeah, I got a weird one for you.
That's pretty good. What about a video game that you've been enjoying recently, if you've been playing any?
I beat Elden Ring 28 times. I love that game. I have Yorm the Giant tattooed on my back from Dark Souls 3. I am obsessed with Dark Souls lore, because it's just like, I look at Dark Souls like the best of video games, because the art, the lore, the story, or lore is the story, excuse me, the character progression, the interaction with environment. How many games do you play are so linear? You go talk to fucking Dildo Jones to open the door and blah, blah, blah. This game, you can go wherever you want, do whatever you please, be whatever fucking build you want, and you'll still get spanked. That's why the game is incredible. That's why I love it. It's like, if life was about everything being easy, then everybody would be a winner. But the problem is, not everybody's a winner. And that's why you have the observers and the doers, you know? And it's like,
Mhm.
I am a doer. I am a doer. And I obviously, look, I observe too. I observe things around me, which
Sure.
that's the first thing you observe before you jump in the water, because the water could have fucking sharks in it, right? You know, I observe before I jump into things. And to my observation, my favorite game is probably the Dark Souls, any Dark Souls or Elden Ring. But yeah, the probably Elden Ring is my most recent, like,
Elden Ring, your
oh
most
yeah,
recent baby.
that's my baby, bro. I'll fucking play that shit all day.
Nice. Okay, that was a damn good answer. What about a horror movie or a series that you've recently been keen on?
I'll be honest with you, bro. I've steered away from a lot of violent imagery for the past couple of years because I feel like it's not good for me. Because I
Sure.
used to be a very angry person when I was younger. I mean, go read Lorna Shore lyrics. About as deep as I get intellectually as a child is in that fucking writing. I'm just, there's some good stuff in there, but most of it's angry, and I've
Mhm.
noticed that that shit doesn't feed my mind in the way it should. Um, but I mean, I tried watching Hellraiser. That shit sucked. That
The
was
remake or the original?
the new one.
Yeah, yeah, I've
That
heard
shit
pretty bad things
sucked,
about that.
bro. Like, bro, what the fuck? That movie
Mm.
blows. You know what I'm saying? It's like I would rather watch the old one. The new one is just like, God, they're just trying to fuck everything up with changing everything. And I'm not saying that like, oh my God, the new Hellraiser's a girl. I'm saying like, this shit
Yeah.
sucks. It doesn't even. I watch it and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm watching a horror movie. I feel like I'm watching a
Okay.
redone movie, and it's just
Mm.
2022 version, and it's just shot. And then I watched Terrifier. The first Terrifier was great. The second one was garbage.
Fuck, no. I've been keen to see the second one. I've been looking for places to watch it, but now I'm not so excited.
Oh, bro, the first
Yeah.
movie, iconic,
I loved it.
iconic, gnarly. I remember watching that the first time, and I remember I put the controller down. And I was like,
What after the
this is on
jigsaw
fucking
thing? Oh my god.
Netflix. I was like, this is on fucking Netflix.
Yeah.
And then I go and I'm like, oh wow, the new one. I hear the reviews. People are throwing up in the theaters. People are, yeah, all right, cool. Let me go throw up in the theater too. I want to go watch. This is the first thing in a long time that I have heard that is really like, whoa.
Next level, yeah. And
I go, I watch it. There's some gnarly parts where you're
I'm
like,
sure.
damn, that's crazy. But then by the end, you're kind of like, where are you going with this shit? You're like, hold the fucking phone now. This is getting a little bit mystical. What is this shit? Follow the direction. It used to be a gory kill movie, and then they
Yeah.
turned it into something weird at the end. And I'm not going to tell you what it is.
No,
Obviously, I want,
yeah, don't.
but yeah, I kind of just watched it, and by the end, I was kind of like, well,
Just
that
was
was
it
2 hours I'm never getting back.
yeah, it was that much of almost a waste of time basically for you.
I mean, if you're into the gnarly shit, you'll probably enjoy it. But again, I'm a
Mm.
story guy. I watch it and I'm like, where's this shit gonna play out to? They shot homeboy in the head at the end of the movie, the last one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like we're terrified that you kind of have to throw the idea of story in a bin. It's kind of like just enjoy the disgustingness for what it is, and that's about it.
I love when people from your neck of the woods say bin instead of trash. I love that.
Throw it in the bin. Yeah, no,
Throw it in the bin.
we showing a lot of shit. That's very true. The bin.
It's
Yeah,
good. I thought it was good. I mean, but look, if
yeah.
I don't know, man. I used to be like super stoked in the gory shit, but now I watch it and I'm just like, wow, he stubbed his toe and he's spraying blood from his cock. What the fuck? You know what I mean? It's like
Tarantino.
the logic behind that is just
Yeah,
all right, but
way a bit
you
much.
might enjoy it. It's an interesting movie.
Okay, well, I'll still give it a run just for shits and gigs and see what happens.
2 hours though.
Yeah, that's a long time for a
It's a long
sci-fi
fucking
action.
time. Don't go see it at night. You be getting out at like 1:30 in the morning. Like, wow, that's the last thing I'm seeing before I go to bed. That's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. I'll maybe like a morning coffee and watch that and then start my day right. And then, just kind of like get rid of it over the course of 10 hours or something. Um, what is your favorite song of Suffer in Hell?
Fuck. I hate that question.
Yeah, it's almost like picking a favorite child in a way.
Favorite song. Uh, I don't know, man. I mean, I'll say just because Trevor for Forever Bloom. I mean, that's a that's a that's a little Tom Barber goal. You know, that's like as a
Yeah.
kid, I was like, I'm gonna play a show with Trevor. I'm gonna be on a song with Trevor. That was like in my head. I was like, that's big enough for me, bro. That's the
That's
one
cool.
that, man, I'm like, listen to that shit, bro. Listen, fucking Trevor's on this song, bro. Like,
Hmm.
that's just like huge for me. I have, bro, every song on that record is straight grab someone by the shirt, like information and music. It's a heavy hitting record, but
Yeah.
Forever Bloom will be the one that is like locked in my chest because again, little Tom is like, we did it, yeah, but
Yeah.
so bittersweet in the same time because it's
Yeah.
like I have it, but I don't because it's not like I can be like Trevor, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like you did, like maybe peace of my mind is like maybe that could have been the thing that could have made me friends with him. Like
Mm.
who knows? But we'll never know. And all I can know is the effect he made on my life was huge, more than anybody else in this metal industry has done for me.
Mm.
Next to Baby J. Baby J is the best friend I could have ever asked for.
Hmm.
He's always stuck by my side, no matter what. Even when I was in my lowest point of my existence, and Josh was always there. Never gave up on me. When I alienated everybody from my life, when I felt like I had nobody, he was
Hmm.
always there. And at the same time, made dope ass music with him. At the same time, uh, started to change the way metal is looked at. And I say that with a very, very honest answer. And it's like people are looking at metal in a different way. And I won't say it's like, we will be the thing that changes metal in a whole point. But I'll tell you this, we're going to be one of the things that people are going to go, well, they did it that way. Why can't we do it that way? Because
Hmm.
everybody's doing it. They're setting their ceiling here. We haven't set our ceiling. We don't have a ceiling on our house. Y'all don't even know what we're going to do for the next couple records. And you know what I mean? God even knows what people will take of these records. And it's like,
Yeah.
again, I run off on a tangent with everything I say, but yeah, Baby J, Trevor, those are the people that have always stuck by my mind in a way that have always been there for me, even if I wasn't best friends with Trevor, but his music was always there. And the thought of him liking me was in my mind. The thought of him knowing my name was in my mind. It's just like,
Hmm.
again, bro, I can't explain it in a way that I'm like, bro, that guy literally was my hero. And I'm sure he's heard that a billion times from a billion people, but I mean it. I mean it when I say it, and
Mm.
I'm honored. I'm honored to have him on that song, and that is without a doubt probably my favorite song on that record.
Amazing. That's that was a very beautiful and a very a well supported answer, I think. Anyway, man, I've had you for long enough. I really appreciate all the time that you've taken to chat everything, chat with everything about me. Um, that doesn't make any sense. Chat with me about everything.
I
Suffer in
picked that
Hell. Thank you. I appreciate it. Suffer in Hell coming out November 11th. And then in March comes out
17th, March
March
17th.
17th. Suffer in Heaven. So excited, man. Thank you again for your time.
Dude, I'm only here for a little while. You know what I'm saying? So why not talk when I have the opportunity?
Exactly.